This planet is a game preserve. And we're the game. In case you didn't notice, we just got flushed out. They sent the dogs in.
You know, that clip gave me a great idea. Let's take the back room of the FUBAR and turn it into a vintage 1980s video game arcade. Yeah, and we'll have all the old tabletop Donkey Kongs and Pac-Mans and Centipedes. Yeah, and we'll call it the Game Preserve. Oh, hello, my name is Fu Manchu. Well, you know what? I just did a review of the Shining figure that looks a little something like this. Now, I received this figure a few days ago, and I have to say I am very happy with it. It is so cool. Now, a lot of people like to criticize figures and say, oh, they're not perfect, or they're this, or they're that. But you know what? I've been messing with this one for the last few hours, and I have to say I'm very happy with it, and it's got such character. I mean, if that's not Jack Nicholson from The Shining, then I don't know what it is. Now, the following figure that I'm going to review next has nothing to do with The Shining, other than the fact that I got it cheaper than the Shining figure cost. So bear that in mind when you see what today's review is. So are you ready? Let's go see what it is! Today's review will be on the Hot Toys movie blah, blah, blah. Trust me, that says masterpiece. I know it's blurry. But today's review will be on the Predator's Tracker Predator. And holy cow! I know I've said, you know, things are awesome and stuff. I use that word a little too much, but you know what? This looks amazingly awesome. You know why? Because this box is freaking huge, man. I mean, seriously, look at this. Look, here I am standing next to the box. This thing is big! And you know what else? It's heavy. I mean, really heavy. I don't know how much this thing weighs, but it's a lot, man. Okay, back to the review. Anyway, you'll notice here that it looks like the box has the design that the totem has inside the, you know, that they hang the Predator on in the movie. It's got that weird little design work. I don't know. But over here it's red, and you can see the Tracker Predator looking through there, looking kind of like an elephant, or maybe a space jockey. But yeah, that is clear plastic, of course, and you slide it off up here, like this, and you can see the picture underneath. So that's pretty cool. But before we do that, let's look at the back of the pocket, back of the package, shall we? Tongue-tied! Look, you know that's going to happen. I talk really fast. Anyway, here's the back of the box, looking very cool indeed. Now, you'll see there, it has, like, I believe that's the Berserker Predator's mask with the Tracker Predator, like, superimposed there on the top part of it. And then over here it says, Predator or... yeah, but that confused me until I looked down here and saw prey. Okay, predator or prey. And apparently it doesn't matter because we're about to blow ourselves up, judging from that digital little readout there. It says Tracker Predator. It's got all the little gobbledygook there at the bottom, and it looks awesome. So there's the back of the box, looking very cool indeed. Let's go back to the front of the box. Now, I'm not kidding when I say this box is huge. Now, the reason for it being so big is it's got an extra accessory in it, and it is really, really big. Now, I've already taken that extra accessory out, so don't expect to see that in the box. But what you will see is a very cool Predator. So I say we remove this little slip thing over the top of the box and see what's underneath. You know, it just occurred to me as I was removing this, if you had some Transformers tech specs, oh my gosh, you could read them all day with this thing. Anyway, back to the box. So here's the box inside with the thing removed from the outside, and oh my goodness, look at this. Just amazing, man. And there's the Tracker Predator, which it looks like an actual movie still, so I'm assuming that's the real costume. It looks like it. Doesn't look like the figure at all. And then behind him, you'll see another one of the masks. Now, yep, that's Tracker's mask. You can see the tusks there at the bottom. Very cool indeed. I love it. Now let's see what's on the back of this box, shall we? Well, the back of the box does not leave anything to the imagination if you want to know what the accessory is. So there's the accessory. It's the Hound. And that is awesome. You get the Predator's Hound with this figure, and oh my gosh, when I say wait till you see him, you know what? I'm not even going to make you wait. I'm going to show it to you right now. Now, I've gotten a lot of Hot Toys figures over the years, but I have to say, as accessories go, this is by far the coolest Hot Toys accessory I have ever gotten. This thing is amazing. Now, he's all put together except for those really long wire things that come off of his back. I haven't put those on there yet. But you will see that this thing looks so cool. Now, I don't know if you can gauge how tall this thing is, but let's bring Jack back in, shall we? So here's the scale of the Hound next to a normal 1/6 scale figure. And if you saw this thing coming at you in the woods, I think you would run. Don't you agree? This thing looks cool, and, you know, it still looks small here on the camera, but in person, this thing is pretty big, and it's heavy. Now, it has no articulation whatsoever. Remember, it's just an accessory, and very much like a statue. But you know what? This thing looks really, really cool, so let's look at the details. Not up close yet. We won't do that yet, but let's look at it, shall we? Now, if I'm not careful, I'll spend all my time talking about this hound. He is awesome looking. Look at all the cracks in his skin, his gums, his teeth are super sharp, man. Those horns and those teeth are very sharp, so you will poke yourself if you're not careful. His little claws on his feet and stuff like that, they're very sharp. He's very spiky, man. It is very, very awesome. And like I said, he's not even complete. He's actually got some little quill things that poke up out of his back that aren't put on there yet, because they're really long and I just haven't put them on there yet. But I intend to, I just haven't yet. So anyway, there he is there. Let me see if I can turn him here. Whoa, look out. He's got spiky spikes all over him. Very awesome indeed. Look at that. I love it. That's very cool. And I keep calling him a him. But if you have this figure, you can find out real quick that it's a her. So anyway, without going into that detail, let's move on to what's inside the box, shall we? Now, the box with this picture on it here has a little window here on the tray, so if you open it, you can move it open like that. So let's see what's inside. Now, this is really going to be hard to do, because this thing is huge, man, but check this out. Here he is, walking his doggy. Very cool indeed. Sorry it's so washed out, but the light is like shining right on it. It's got a little blurb down here that talks about the predators and blah, 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 blah. And then over here you will see the window with the predator inside. You'll see where his accessories and spiky things went over there. There's where the doggy went down there at the bottom. But like I said, I pulled him out and put him together, so there you go. Now I can't wait to pull this thing out, so I say we open it! Now here's the figure laying down in the tray with the upper tray removed, and oh my goodness, this thing is huge. I'm not kidding you, man. And it's so heavy. Seriously, this is one heavy figure. Now, you'll see that he comes with his little extra hand there. He's got another one over here. They're both open. Very cool. He's got some extra pegs there. He's got some predator candy there. He's got some metal blades, 3 different sizes of the metal blades. He's got his tusks, which aren't in the package, unlike the NECA one, which always shipped with the tusks on, and they were always broken inside there. So that's way better to not have them already on. And oh my gosh, look at this predator. He looks so good. And then over here you'll find, let's see, what do we see? His little plasma caster thingamabobber. There's the little spikies that go on the doggy. There's some extra hands there holding a leash with the chain on it. And there's the rock for the dog to stand on and instructions. So let's waste no more time and pull him out of the package. What do you say? Now, here's the predator standing straight up, fresh out of the package. And oh my goodness, this looks amazing. Now, I am a huge Predator fan, going back to the very first movie. I love that movie a lot, and I've loved every movie that's come out subsequent. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the Alien vs. Predator movies, but I do. I mean, as long as it's got a cool Predator in it, I love it. Plus, I love Aliens, so that helps too. But now, I've only had one Hot Toys Predator figure. I was telling this to Mr. Evilcheese. Now, I've only had the Shadow Predator, I think he's called, or the Snake Predator. I don't know. I think he's called the Shadow Predator. But, yeah, he didn't come with a mask, and I really wanted one with a mask. And I thought, well, I really like him, but I'll get rid of him and get one with a mask later, and I never ended up getting one. Well, this one has a mask, but you can't take it off, so that sucks too. So it's the opposite of what I had before. This one looks really cool, but you can't take his mask off, which sucks, but in the movie he never took his mask off, so that's okay. But look at this thing, man. He's a super predator, so it's really, really big. Now, in the making of the movie, they called all 3 of the predators, the super predators, berserker predators. But when the toys came out, they started just calling that main one Mr. Black or whatever. He was the berserker. This one's the tracker, and then there's the falconer. And so, obviously, this one is a lot bigger than normal predators and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if the scale is right, because I don't have another predator to compare him to, but I will compare him to that Jack Nicholson figure one more time. So here's the Jack Nicholson figure standing alongside the Predator, and yeah, I think he's a little bigger than old Jack. You might want to hang on to that axe, Jack. You might need it. But you can see they're on the same size stand, so that's how big he would be next to a normal 12-inch figure, which is awesome. Now, I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be a little bit bigger, but, you know, they probably flubbed their heights in the movie, the way wrestlers flub their heights by a few inches to make them look taller, because I've stood next to a lot of wrestlers that were supposedly way bigger than me, and I'm the same height as they are. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they just flubbed their heights a little bit, or maybe they just screwed up, you know, when they made these figures, but this is big enough. It doesn't have to be bigger. This looks amazing. Now, another thing to consider is he's not even all put together. He's got those tusks that go on the front of his mask. He's got blades and stuff like that. Plus, he's got his little doggy, so that's pretty cool. Now, I say we look at him from behind. What do you say? Look at this armor. This looks so cool, and I love that this one has so much armor. The Shadow Predator that I had originally didn't have much armor, if any. I mean, I don't even remember he didn't have that bomb thing on his arm. He didn't have blades. He didn't have anything, man. He didn't have a mask. He was pretty much naked. He had a furry thing on his shoulder, but that's about it. Now, this one actually has a light-up feature, and if you turn it around, you will see he's got the little laser light thingamabobber there on his head, over there next to his right eye that he always, you know, the laser sighting that he tracks, or can aim at other people. So that's really cool. Plus, he's got this really cool damaged mask, which looks very cool indeed. Now, I say we put them together and look at them close. What do you say? Now, as I said before, he actually comes with 3 extended blades for his gauntlet, which go on his right hand right there. So I'm going to pick one out and put one on there. So here's the Tracker Predator all geared up with his tusks and his little plasma caster gun thing on his shoulder. He's got his blades on. Oh, goodness. And he's got his clawed hands on. And that looks amazing. And I'm serious. The more I played with this thing as I was putting him together, the more I liked him. And I already liked him a lot, man. This is one awesome Predator. And one of the things that I noticed is when I was putting him on the stand, those little hook grabby things that go underneath their crotch. Now, I believe, I could swear it was the Tracker, or not the Tracker, the Shadow Predator that I had. He had mesh, that netting that the Predators actually have, right? Well, I was always afraid that was going to tear because it always seemed to catch on their little netting things in his crotch. Now, that's cool and all. It adds a neat effect, but this one doesn't have it, so I don't have to worry about ever ripping it, and that is awesome. So I say we waste no more time and look at him up close. What do you say? So here we go with a super-duper close-up look, and here's the leather wrappings that go across his belly. These are actually little leather pieces, man. That's awesome, or at least faux leather. I don't know if it's real leather, but at least they didn't sculpt it. That's cool. Working our way up here, which I'm caught on his tusks. You will see his chest. He looks kind of scaly, doesn't he? Working our way. His tusks poke out really far. Where are they? There they are. You guys are poking out so far that I can't even zoom in on his chest, so let's turn his head. Where there's a will, there's a predator. So there you go. We turned his head, and here's what his chest looks like. And he's very scaly. I don't remember predators being this scaly. I mean, they were bumpy and all, but he actually looks like he's craggly scaly. Up here's his necklace. He's got a little necklace there. It looks like a bug face. I don't know what that is. Then over here, he's got some little, like, mandibles. That's cool. Now, I'm assuming those are, like, predator mandibles. I'm assuming. Like normal predator mandibles, because there's 4 of them, and predators have 4. Yeah, okay. And then over here, he's got his neck. Very cool. I'm caught on him again. And then there's where his neck joint joins with his head. Up here, you'll see his masks, if I can get in focus. Gosh, this thing is so big. There's his tusks wrapped there. They're not wrapped, it's just sculpted that way. And then over here, we'll see his head. My goodness, this thing is huge. You can see his little quills there poking out from underneath his mask. Now, like I said, the mask is not removable, so that silver part there does not come off. But he does have a face under there from what I've heard. He's got a super predator berserker head underneath there, but you can't see it unless you pry off the mask, which is glued on. Now, there's his eye, which has a lot of battle damage there, like scratches and stuff like that, and that looks awesome. Look at that, his eyes are all glossy. That's very cool. You can see his head's painted like different shades of gray. Ha ha ha. Watch out. Anyway, there's some green there on it too. Little scratches of green. You can see it right there. That's cool. It adds a neat effect to it. Gosh, this thing is so big. I don't know how well you're going to be able to make this out. Here's his tentacles, or whatever you call them, his dreadlocks, whatever they're called. And then you can see that they're painted with little, looks like little rib cages. Now, looking at this figure, it is way too big to do a zoom-in thing, but you can see all these neat little details if you look at it. It's just you're not going to be able to make out what a lot of this stuff is because it's so friggin' big. There's his gun, looking very cool. Working our way down his arm, you can see the different colors that make up his skin. Oh, that looks so cool. It's like dinosaur skin or something. It's got a lot of red in his skin. There's the elbow joint. There's his elbow itself. It's armored because he's got like an armored thing on his arm there with the, I'm assuming that's his little explosive whatever doodad. And then over here you got his hand, and his hand is amazing. And if we turn him so we can look at his hand, he's got some very sharp claws, just like the doggy. These are very sharp claws, so you can poke yourself pretty bad with those things. Look at his fingers. He's wearing fingerless gloves, which is amazing. And then over here he's got, that's his codpiece belt, I believe. That is awesome. Down here, all of his armor looks like it's been oxidized or something. It's all turning green, but it looks very cool. Down this leg, this side of his leg, or this leg is pretty much exposed with a little bit of armor, and the other leg has a lot of armor on it. And as you can see, his feet, looks like his feet have toes, which is kind of cool. I'm assuming his toes are inside there. I don't know. Looks like he's wearing dinosaur clodhoppers. I don't know. Over here, you'll see his other foot. Like I said, this thing is so big, it's really hard to show off. And this is his other leg. Now, as you can see, well, maybe you can't. I don't know. It's pretty dark. But you can see this leg is pretty much armored up and then strapped up and stuff. Now, that looks like, is that one sculpted? I don't know, it kind of looks like leather. Let me look at it up close. No, that looks like it might be leather and indeed. A little bit on top and a little bit underneath. I can't tell, but it kind of looks sculpted too. I don't know. I was going to say, this up here is definitely faux leather. Because you can make out, well, not there. Right there. That's definitely faux leather. So I'm assuming this down here is sculpted since it's, yeah, that doesn't have the same texture. So that's sculpted on top of his leg. You can see the armor there. Very cool indeed. Like I said, this leg is heavily armored and the other one not so much. And over here you'll see his blade, and that is so cool. Look at that. And very sharp and very metally. So you will cut yourself. No, you won't cut yourself. It's not sharp, but you can poke yourself. There's his fingernails. Very neat. It looks like he painted them to go out on the town. Predator, what are you doing? There's the back of his glove. There's his little wrist joint. The other one gets hidden very well. This wrist joint, little visible, but if you turn this one over here, on this arm, you can't see it at all. It's like hidden inside there really well. So maybe I did something wrong. Could probably shove it in there a little bit harder. I don't know. And then there's his other wrist gauntlet, looking very cool. There's his arm. Now let's turn him around and look at him from behind before we finish this zoom in. Because like I said, it's so big, can't really see anything. There's a screw. That's how big he is. You can't make out any of these details. They're just big cluttered details. Now, one detail before we move away from looking at him up close is his little laser dots, and that is awesome. I love how they did that. Very cool indeed. Now, don't think I've forgotten about the doggy, who you'll see looks very hairy, but here he is now, same as the Predator with these silly tusks. They're bouncing off of the camera, and I can't really get in that close. But at least you'll be able to see a little bit of the detail. Look inside his mouth there. Look at that tongue. Oh my goodness, in his mouth. Very cool indeed. I love it. Holy cow, you don't want to see that coming at you. And then up here's his nose, and that is awesome. So there's my very lengthy, but I didn't go into every detail review for the Tracker Predator made by Hot Toys. And this thing is amazing. Now, I said at the beginning of this video that I actually got this cheaper than the Shining Doll. And I did, and it is amazing, and I'm so happy to have gotten it, because I've been wanting another Predator figure for a long time, and, you know, this thing just blows away the one I used to have. I mean, number one, it's got the blades, which I really want, it's got the light, it's got the mask, it's got so many little details, it's got this cool doggy, which is 2 characters really in one. That's really neat. Plus, it's got a few accessories I didn't even show up, like his little chain that goes around the doggy and stuff, so he's got like a leash, and that's awesome indeed. So there's my very long review of the Tracker Predator made by Hot Toys, and I have to say, I've had all of the the Berserker Predators from NECA. Now, except for this one. The one that I never had was the Tracker Predator. I had the Falconer Predator, I had the Berserker Predator, but I never had the Tracker because every time I saw him, his tusks were broken, man, so I never got him. But this is by far the best Tracker Predator toy I have ever seen. That NECA one is awesome and all, but my goodness. When I got this, I expected it to be cool. You know, I've always thought this figure looked cool and I really wanted it. And I'm sorry, it lived up to every expectation I ever had and more. This thing is amazing looking. No joke. Heavy duty, very well made, very, very cool, and look at that doggy. You can't say no to that cute little face. But you know what? I love it, man, and I would love to have the other two Predators to go with this, but I'll never have them because they're super mega expensive. I've always wanted a Royce from the Adrian Brody character from Predators, but I've never gotten him. He's like a Grail figure that I've wanted for a long time, but I've never gotten him. This is by far the first one I've ever gotten from Predators, and I love it. And it probably won't be the last. If I can find them cheap, I'll get the rest. So, until next time, tune in for more Foo Reviews. Come on, felzbug, quick!